This episode is sponsored by SmartVestor. Connect with an investing pro for free at RamseySolutions.com/invest. You're listening to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires, where we talk investing, retirement, building wealth, and outrageous generosity. Adam is in Bozeman, Montana. What's going on, Adam?
Hi, George. Hi, Ken. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's happening?
So I was just calling. I'm getting ready to really start attacking my mortgage. And I got in 3 years ago with interest rates being extremely low, and I was just wondering if it's more advisable to throw the money at the mortgage account with a low interest rate, or if it would be better off in like a growth stock mutual fund or a high yield savings account and then pay it all off in one big chunk at the end.
This is a classic existential question in today's world, Adam, and it's a tough one, truthfully, because we get harangued for this in the comment section on the internet. They're going, "You should never pay down your low interest mortgage. Keep it forever." And I'm going, do you guys understand the options you have when you don't have a mortgage payment? You can move if you want to. And what I'm hearing, Ken, is people go, I have a low interest mortgage. I'm handcuffed to it because I can't sell the home because then I'll have to go get another mortgage that's going to be at a 7% rate.
Right.
So number one, Adam, you're choosing freedom. You're solving for freedom when you pay down the mortgage. And we can do the nerdy math and go, here's how much you're paying in your amortization schedule towards interest. Here's how much you could make in a high yield savings. Right now it's about 5%. Is that accurate?
Yeah, 4.7 is what I currently have.
Okay. And your mortgage is at a 2 something or 3?
3.25.
Okay. So if you actually did the math on what you'd be making, do you actually have enough to pay down the mortgage today in savings?
No, not today. I'm looking at about probably a 12-year schedule.
Okay. So if you wanted to nerd out for a second to do a mathematical equation, you could see how much money you'd be making in that high yield savings account over the next 5 years. And I can almost guarantee, since you don't have the money in full today, that you'll be better off paying down the mortgage because of how much interest you're paying on the front end. When you look at that amortization schedule, you'll notice that most of it is going towards interest and only a small percent goes to the principal. And as you start paying it down, it starts to switch. And so I would almost guarantee that right now, without even seeing the math, it would be a better bet for you to have that guaranteed interest by paying down the mortgage and building equity versus investing it in a high yield savings account.
Okay.
That's the math side.
Much.
Yeah, and the emotional side, like I mentioned, I'm a guy who did exactly what I'm telling you to do, which is pay down the mortgage regardless of what the market is doing, what high yield savings are doing. Because you also got to remember, high yield savings accounts, they're at pretty amazing rates right now, but that could fluctuate. That's variable. It could go down to 4, it could go down to 3 over the next year or two. Whereas your mortgage, you're always going to pay that 3.25% on a few $100,000 on that mortgage balance. And I would encourage you to go look at your amortization schedule. And everyone out there, if you have a mortgage, go look at what you're actually paying in interest per month and add it up over the course of a year. It will make you want to hurl. It'll make you want to get rid of that mortgage. So that's my thoughts, Ken. Anything to add to that?
Well, I would just say for our money audience, I don't think the Fed's going to do anything on the interest rates anytime soon. You may see something towards the end of the year, but the days of the super low rates are gone. They're not coming back anytime soon. But the flip side of that is, and quite frankly, I'm okay with it because I want to get more for my savings. So I think, like you were describing, I just would let the audience know that you're getting an elevated interest rate. And I think that while it may fluctuate some, I think it's going to stay higher for those that are savers. So that high yield savings account, that rate's going to stay at a pretty nice number, I think, for the near future and maybe distant future.
Yeah. And the only time it really works out on paper is if you have the exact amount of your mortgage sitting in savings,
of course,
working for you. And
that's
most
right.
people, they're not in that situation.
And he didn't either. But just a side note, because people are paying attention, they think the Fed's going to come rescue them. And right now the Fed's kind of backed into a corner because they can't lower rates right now.
Well, spending is still so hot.
Well,
so they're not really cooling inflation at the rate
here's
they
a
were
fun
hoping.
little term. I know James loves it when I talk economics.
Can I guess? Is it stagflation?
We are now officially in stagflation. Most of you don't know what that is. You may remember it from 6th or 7th grade, but that's where the GDP shrunk the last quarter and inflation went up. And so when you see the economy, the GDP, the gross domestic product, when it is shrinking and inflation is increasing, you are officially in stagflation. So the Fed, for those of you that are paying attention to this, in an election year, plus the fact that consumer spending is still high, inflation is spiked, their hands are tied. So maybe that's a little too nerdy, but I'm telling you, that's where we stand. So now it's good for savers. Debt is bad. It's always bad. It's even more ugly right now.
Well, we always say, broke people pay interest, wealthy people earn it.
That's
and
right.
so that's one of the keys of getting out of debt. And I'll tell you, I have the best mortgage interest rate of all time right now. It's 0%. And the way you get that is by paying off your mortgage. And we found that as people do this, they don't call in and say, Ken, I regret it. I could have made more in my savings account. I could have made the spread on the 1 or 2%.
Yeah.
It's simply not worth the mental calories, the emotional weight. And it sounds silly to people who love to do the math, but there is such emotional, mental freedom.
Yeah. Well, for years, Dave called it financial peace. We still, refer to it as financial peace. And while we put the word financial in front of it, it really is peace. It's peace in that I'm not worried. It's peace in that I've got options. People that have a lot of margin and no debt in their life, they can change and make moves anytime they want to.
Switch careers, move different states.
100% sell the house, go somewhere. So, if you want to be stable in an unstable economy, then follow what we teach. Because no matter what the Fed's doing, no matter who's president, no matter who controls Congress, you're just pretty much like, you realize how much those people don't matter.
Yeah. You realize how much of a circus it is watching the news, freaking out. They want you to freak out about what's happening in the economy.
Yeah.
And so if you're truly freaked out about what's happening in the economy, what could happen, then we would all be paying off our mortgages if we truly believe that.
No, I agree. But why would people do that when Congress is continuing to spend trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars? It's debt is just okay. It's just a necessary evil to so many people, except for us, and that's sad. And we're converting people.
America's number one in a lot of things, and consumer debt is at the top of that list.
Credit
we are
card
leading
debt,
the charge.
all-time high. The national deficit, all-time high.
We keep beating our own personal best, Ken. It's amazing.
It's really exciting.
There's nothing we can't do.
Well, I tell you what, if it were financial Olympics, we'd be winning, huh?
Thanks for tuning in to Ramsey Everyday Millionaires. To learn more about how to plan for retirement, visit RamseySolutions.com/retire or click the link in the show notes. Ramsey Solutions is a paid non-client promoter of participating pros. Learn more at RamseySolutions.com/SmartVestor.